the loyal sports car fans, the stars and the cars. This is one of the classics. It's the 6 hours of the Glen, the Salem 6 hours of the Glen. And if you were to win this one, you join an illustrious list, a special club, because this is one of sports cars' classics. It is no easy feat. Things are hot, things are rough. This one is tough. And in the history of Daytona prototypes, there has never been the same driver combination win it more than once. You saw the fire in his eyes. He said he wanted to get the win. He means business. It's what Grand Am is all about, a mix of endurance, speed and sprint. And we have been in sprint race mode ever since the Rolex 24 at Daytona. We now switch back to endurance mode as we welcome you to round 5 of the Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series. The Salem 6 hours of the Glen, yes, all 6 hours. And this is a long, hard road. We welcome you back. We hope you enjoyed that break with Arca from Pocono, but this is Grand Am live on speed. And when we left you, it was the 10 SunTrust Delara out in front, and in GT it was the 87 Farnbacher Lowell's car. Now Scott Pruitt, defending race winner, defending series champion, is out in front to the tune of 16.5, almost 17 seconds. That's been growing every lap. The 10, Brian Frizzell, is now taken over from Max Angelelli, sits behind Romain Dumas in these Penske Porsche. Nick Johnson and that whole Proto Auto Lola and Krone Racing organization have got that car sorted today for sure. They're heading in the right direction. And how about the story of the championship points leader? They've come from 2 laps down to be on the lead lap, but we've got to talk more about the 99 Gainsco gang and John Fogarty. We roll back through the order. Scott Tucker did a good job to keep that car on or about the lead lap, handed it back over to Christophe Bouchou, and they're fighting. They're fighting to stay in touch. We haven't mentioned Bruno Junqueira today. He is racing in Grand Am for the very first time. The open wheel star, and he's enjoying his time in sports car racing. Then we get into the GT ranks. You should see the fight between the 57 and 70. The Stevenson team and the number 70 Speed Source Mazda. It's been amazing. Both Farnbacher Lowells, incidentally, have been Porsches have been incredibly strong today. We start drifting back into some of the cars who have run into some trouble today, like the 67 of Justin Marks. Yes, more troubles have plagued that car ever since winning the GT class at the Rolex 24 at Daytona. It has been frustration overload, to say the least. And then cars who are now out of that are out of this race. The attrition rate, not too bad, considering we've been going for quite some time now, for 4 hours. And as we join the race leader. Hi everyone, Lee Diffie along with Calvin Fish, Dorsey Schrader, Chris Neville and Brian Till. We're all here live at the Glen and enjoying it. But the man out in front just keeps adding seconds to his lead.
He's really flying right now. Ever since Scott Pruitt got behind the wheel, he's really taken off in this field. Memo Rojas did a tremendous job keeping the 01 car at the front of the pack as well, Dorsey. But I think the big story is the championship leader coming from 2 laps down to get back on the lead lap.
That's an amazing job by the Gainsco boys. 2 laps down, now is back on the lead lap, and that is one of the cars that might be able to contest the speed of this car. Scott Pruitt running down 141.7 that lap. That's one of the quickest laps we've seen in quite a long time.
The 58 Brumos Porsche had been having a strong run today. They were definitely in the mix, and they put on some good fighting performances. But there's a story down there as we join Chris Neville. Hi, Chris.
Lee, it's been a topsy-turvy day for the Brumos 58. We know that they've had handling problems with this car since New Jersey, but during this race, it was really working well. In fact, the car was running up front for both David Donahue and Darren Law. But Darren, you just handed over the car to David Donahue, and now some mechanical problems.
Yeah, actually, we turned it over early. You know, it reminds me of like NASCAR something. We've come in every stop, made a change, got better and better. And the car was fast, but I came out of the bus stop, I tried to pull a gear, and I was stuck. The linkage broke, so we had to come in early, switch to David, and I guess we broke a bolt to the tranny linkage. So,
well, you've gone down a couple laps now, but the big issue, you guys are finally getting the handling right on this car. Started out too tight the past couple weekends, too loose today, but now you're getting the balance. What have you guys figured out?
You know what, the biggest thing we've done is played with shocks. We've rebuilt the shocks I don't know how many times this weekend, and we've changed a lot of downforce and things, and it's really, I mean, it came along pretty good.
Well, Gainsco is able to come back after being 2 laps down with just a couple hours. Can these guys do it too? Brian?
Well, down here on this end of pit lane, I was just talking to Timo Bernhard with Penske. He's getting ready to go in. They're having a great run up into second. They made some changes to that car, very loose early on, maybe similar to the Brumos car. They've gone up on the gurney in the back, changed the air pressures, and as the weather has cooled down, cars really seem to come good. The question is, Dorsey pointed out, could anyone catch the 01? What about the Farnbacher Porsches? Both Lee Keen and Eric Lux laying down spectacular lap times. They're not running first and second right now. They're about third and fourth the last time I looked. The question is, as we cycle through this last 2 rounds of pit stops, will Farnbacher Lowles, one of those 2 cars, find victory lane here today, guys?
Yes, here we have that 87 of Lee Keen. That stop just happened not that long ago. Speaking of stops, Brian Frizzell has done a good job. Max Angelelli, time to get back in.
Well, this is going to be significant now. We've got just over 2 hours, so we suggest that Max will do a double stint here. Nice, cool conditions. Max was the fastest car in the race up until a couple of laps ago when Scott Pruitt took away that mantle of having the fastest lap. So Max Angelelli has been fast all day long. Brian just did a tremendous job, and this is exactly the role he needs to play. Bring the car back, bring it right close to the lead. Max can get the job done.
Absolutely. You see Max take off right there, very routine pit stop. He will be calm, cool, and collected as much as an Italian driver gets anyway, and he'll go out here and really start to lay down some laps, I would think.
99's back in. Chris, tell us more.
Yeah, Alex Gurney going to get back behind the wheel of this car. Now, we know about that camber block problem. The team does suspect that one of those shims fell out, and that's what took out that right rear tire. Got the team confused. They lost those couple laps until they found that that camber block was loose up on the right front. Also, Alex Gurney had a bit of contact down in turn 1. He was passing Darren Manning into turn 1. Thought Manning saw him, but Manning didn't quite see him. So a little bit of contact up on that right or left front corner. We can see that dive plane is askew up there, and the team has had to come to pit lane to put a little bit of tape up on that nose.
Well, the significant thing is we've got 2 hours, 2 minutes to go, so these guys should only have to hit pit lane one more time here today to see the checkered flag.
As far as stops and stats for this race, we have had 8 different leaders, I should say. We've had 12 lead changes, 5 cautions. That's a significant part while we were away for that 2-hour block. We left you, it was only 2 cautions. We've had 5 full course yellows for a total of 15 laps. Brian mentioned about things getting late in the day, now things cooling off. Let's update you with the weather at the moment, because we're racing later in the day than what this event traditionally has been run. So we're at 74 degrees here in upstate New York, and it'll drop several more degrees by the time we finish, and we certainly will finish before sunset occurs.
Well, that's significant in terms of the tires that they're using. Talking to Timmy Keen, who manages this 01 machine, they were going with sticker tires, brand new tires that hadn't been scrubbed during the heat of the day, and they scrubbed in some tires this morning in the warm-up for the last couple of stints.
This car, the 01 car, is due for a pit stop pretty soon now, as far as he has gone. You know, this racetrack, as it gets colder, is going to lose grip all the way around. They might make some adjustments now, because this next pit stop will give them another hour worth of fuel, roughly.
Well, one thing that's significant, we talk about the first person to pit and get to the checkered flag. The other thing you got to be careful, I think Pruitt's going to pit right here. I believe they could probably go a couple more laps, but with the lead, if there was a yellow, pit lane would be close. They'd lose a heck of a lot of track position there, so this is a good call by Timmy Keen and the boys.
Watch these
Cal,
guys.
and I'm looking at the cars that came in. Quite a bit of grass up on the right front, so I don't know if Scott maybe dropped a couple wheels out on the racetrack, or if the track is just so dirty right now that that front grill area was pretty cluttered up. And like you said, they're doing scuffed tires, so that's something we're going to see in the late going here. Talking with Timmy Keen before we came back on air, he said, hey, we're having the perfect day, but the problem is, it's the Gainesco, guys. The Gainesco 99 is back on the lead lap, and they're in 7th place. So even with a win, we're not going to make up that much points in the points championship.
Hey, Chris, Gainesco's in the gravel trap. We've had several cars off. I don't know if it's an oil problem, but Gainesco 99 is stuck in the gravel trap. We'll have a full course. I see a car up ahead with a lot of fluid out.
58, I believe.
That's the 58 Brumos car, and I'm pretty sure it looked like that was wet behind that. I'm not sure.
And
let's see what happened here, guys.
2 gentlemen, Jack Crawford was
a lot of cars
as well.
involved here.
We see it. David Donahue just goes down to the inside, gets all over the curb, and then gets right into the side of Alex Gurney. That was a little bit desperate there.
Yeah, that's not a, there was a lot of cars that got away with that one.
Now remember, the 99 had just pitted, so Alex would have been getting the tire temps and pressures up.
Well, this is going to bring out our 6th full course caution.
let's take another look at that for you, just to show you exactly what happened between the 58 and 99.
Take a look again here. David Donahue right there in the 58 dives down inside the 99, but he's going to hit the curb, like you said, Calvin, right there, launches it and gets into the side, turning both cars. Unfortunately for the 99, into the gravel trap, and you're not getting out of that.
David had done one more lap. They both recently pitted, but David had one more lap of tire temp in. That could have been a factor. He maybe thought that Alex was not up to speed. He committed to it. But this is significant in the championship.
Let's hear the thoughts of co-driver John Fogarty.
Well, John Fogarty just turned that car over to Alex Gurney. And John, as you're sitting here watching our replays, how frustrating is this after you guys had to fight to get back on the lead lap?
You can't even put it in words. Real tough day for the Gainesville Auto Insurance car. Looks like Donahue maybe was looking in his mirrors trying to keep the Brumos car back and missed his braking point. You know, really unfortunate. The team did a great job today getting our laps back. Hopefully we can get dragged out and still salvage some points out of here.
Well, that's the good thing, guys. If they can get it dragged back, make sure everything's okay back here, they will get it back out on the racetrack. But once again, they're going to go a couple laps down.
Just think about the championship implications here. This car leads the Daytona Prototype Championship. So this is a huge break for the other teams that are chasing, teams like the Chip Ganassi team.
This is so heartbreaking. You're stuck in that gravel. The driver can't do anything. Here's the points you're taking a look at as of right now. He'll go down some more laps as they pull him out. I don't think the car's hurt, Calvin. It wasn't much of a hit, really.
No, he should be okay. What's strange is that the 58 came for a stop. I mean, 'cause he bounced over the curb there, so I don't know what happened to that car, too.
Kind of wondering if he's still got a transmission problem or not, because when he left there, it just didn't look like it was up to speed.
That's a good point, because if you come down in some of these corners and you're really getting to threshold braking, sometimes you need that retardation from the gearbox as well. If he's not getting all the gears on the downshift, could have been a factor also. But as John said, he had pressure from behind. Also, Alex didn't have a lot of tire temp, wasn't up to full speed. Number of things going on, Chris.
Yeah, guys, listening to David on the radio, he's talking back and forth with Mike Colucci, and something definitely did break on that car. We have to remember that just a couple laps ago, Darren Law said he couldn't shift the car. They came in, they tried to get it fixed. They didn't have the part in pit lane, so they sent David out. He did one lap, he came back in, then they thought they had it fixed. And it was that next lap or two after that, it looks like it broke again.
The 58 not only won the opening race of the year, the Rolex 24 at Daytona, it's finished in the top 10 in all 4 races so far this year. That will not happen here today at the 6 hours of the Glen. This is what has happened and has hampered both their chances. We'll be back. Speed's coverage of the Rolex Sports Car Series is presented on Speed by Rolex, a crown for every achievement. And brought to you in part by Pirelli. Power is nothing without control. Back at the Glen, still under yellow. We're getting things sorted out here. There has been a flurry of activity on pit road. Some guys pleased, some guys not so pleased. It's all part of this amazing race, and as they get back up to speed and get back into order, we will update you on that revised order. But first of all, for those of you just turning on for the first time today, this is what has happened thus far in the Salem 6 hours of the Glen. Scott Pruitt started on pole, an amazing qualifying time, new record time, and he took that first turn, no worries. Good early fighting between the former teammates. Michael Valiente in the 6, Max Angelelli in the 10. And Michael was able to get that job done, not a problem. Not only in Daytona prototypes, but GT as well. Farnbacher, Lowles and Stevenson went at it hard early on. Stevenson had the lead, Farnbacher stole it away. The Ganassi Lexus Riley, Scott Pruitt's early job was done, and his defending champion teammate Memo Rojas climbed aboard. The points leaders, it has been a troublesome day for sure for the Gainsco gang.
And these boys have been fast all day long. The number 12 car, they're going to be a factor here. We keep talking about when will that first win come. Maybe it's today.
Of course, it wasn't without a little bit of action, as you see cars starting to get slippery as the race goes on. It got hot in the afternoon and everybody was set up on a cold setup. Good racing
there, diving down the inside of David Donahue on one of the restarts. He took off at that stage of the race.
Fast forward to hour 3. And of course, in a race like this, pit stops, crew work, teamwork, and it has to be effective and efficient. Nick Johnson on the inside of Romain Dumas. Cop that. First time here at the Glen. Let's show you how it's done down in turn 1. A popular overtaking point. Watch the Verizon car. Look at him wrestling it down into turn 1. The Frenchman trying so hard to put a move on Max Angelelli.
Look at the two Farnbacher Lowles cars going at it all day long. This is Werner around Lux.
Goes right behind that, the 70, the Mazda. It's been there all day long as well.
It has. Not a great qualifying from the 70 Speed Source Mazda, and more troubles for the TRG 67. However, we are pleased to say, although they went off course, off track and behind the wall, they are now back in the race. Now this was the latest arm wrestle in GT. Mazda v Pontiac, Sylvain Tremblay and Stevenson's Pontiac GXPR. Amazing stuff.
Look at this. This is really testy here. This is Darren Law with Nick Johnson really going hard at it. And then that Mazda comes back at the Pontiac. Robin Liddell in the 57. Sylvain Tremblay behind the wheel of the Mazda.
And not over yet, though. As I'll say, no, I think my Pontiac's faster than your Mazda. Get out of my way.
And it was good, clean racing. It was just hard racing, and this brings you up to date with the most recent incident and accident between David Donahue and Alex Gurney. Well, Chris Neville is standing by with Brumos's Mike Colucci. Chris?
Well, Lee, just a minute ago, David Donahue in the 58 were towed back to pit lane and right down to the paddock, walking back with Mike Colucci. Mike, what happened out there? Sounds like something broke on the car.
Yeah, well, David got underneath Alex and couldn't get slowed enough and tagged Alex, and both got turned around. And in the process of trying to spin the car around, something broke in the drive, and we're not sure what.
You think you can be able to get it fixed and get back out there?
I'll let you know in a few minutes.
All right, we'll have to stand by on that one, guys. But, you know, so it sounds like, I don't know if something exactly broke before he got into Alex or if it broke after that, but
of course, he was talking about,
they have their hands full.
Talking about wanting to spin the car around. The way you do that, put the clutch in, give it a lot of revs with the front wheel turn, and then pop the clutch. That puts a lot of drive strain on both the axles and the clutch. One of those things broke, I bet.
It does when you got tire temperature in the car as well.
Unfortunately, the results are going the wrong way for the 58 Brumos car. First, third, fourth, eighth. They're heading in the wrong direction. We welcome you back to upstate New York, and while we're under caution, this is a good time to tell you once again about the Chip Foose Pirelli Edition Ford Flex giveaway. This is a special Pirelli Edition Ford Flex, and it's designed by legend Chip Foose. And all you have to do to be in the running to win this car, continue watching and watch closely. Watch closely. Hint,
Right now.
hint. Like now. There is a code word somewhere out there, and if you acknowledge that, write it down and go to grandam.com/Foose. Enter that special prize word and you'll go into the mix to win. Now, of course, all of our previous winners and for the next 7 races, you will all be going to Homestead Miami Speedway, but only one of you will get that special Pirelli Edition Ford Flex, and Chip Foose himself will hand you the key. So good luck. Get involved, and we may show you that special code word one more time. Hey, speaking of Pirelli, it's time to take a look at the track map.
Okay, Watkins Glen, 3.4 miles, 11 turns, and it is truly spectacular. Really fast as you start the lap down into turn 1. Heavy braking. We've seen action down there already today, about 116 miles an hour. Then you're out of turn 1, a really critical corner as you weave up through the S's, about 150 miles an hour as you take top gear, and then you go down the back straightaway, Dorsey, hitting speeds of about 178 miles an hour as you set up for the inner loop.
The real fun begins because we're not on the short course, we're on the long course. Short course, of course, comes down, connects right there. But we go down through turn 6, turn 7. Great, good brake zone down in that area. Also, a lot of elevation change through there. We'll see a lot of passing between that turn 7, turn 8 area, and a lot of side-by-side action as well.
Marvelous track, and we've seen some spectacular racing so far. Hey, speaking of spectacular, whenever this guy's on the track, it is action time, right, Brian?
That is exactly right, Lee. Romain Dumas just climbed out of the number 12 Penske Porsche in the lead when you brought it into the pits, but I know this car has not been happy all day long. Watched some excitement down into the brake zone in turn 1 a couple of times. The changes you guys have made, has it improved the car?
Well, we try a few weeks on the rear to improve the car, to actually to gain top speed. But at the end, my first hint, I have a small gurney, but on corner 1, I was sideways all the time. We are too slow on the straight, and that's a problem. I mean, at the second stint, I changed the gurney. It was much better, but to overtake the other car is very difficult. So we have a good car. If we are alone, we run as quick as the front. But soon we are on traffic, it's very difficult. So I don't know what will we see. We will see the end of the race, but it will be not easy.
Well, they'll wait and see, but strategy, it's always been a part of their game plan down here, guys, and they are very good at it. For more on GT, we'll head to Chris.
Brian, those first couple hours for the Stevenson group weren't a good couple hours because tire wear at the back end of the car was just blistering those Pirellis. Now, the reason being the team missed a lot of practice back on Thursday. Only had about 25% of what everybody else did. But, Mike, now the car seems to be running pretty strong. What kind of state is the 57 in?
Well, you know, we're getting better for sure. We've been making changes. It's been like a NASCAR race for us. Every stop, we're making a bunch of changes, putting a wedge in it, things we've never tried before. And, you know, Mr. Stevenson's actually pretty upset at me right now because we keep throwing tires at it, but Mrs. Stevenson's pretty happy because every time we buy a set of tires, she gets a new pair of shoes. But last set of tires that just came off were pretty good. This yellow is really going to help us, I think, because I think if we can get 26 laps on a set of tires, we should be all right. So, you know, we got one of the best drivers out there right now, and, you know, just keep going, right?
I think they're going to have to grab the win to not only cover that tire bill, but also the shoe bill.
That's funny, because Kelly Collins likes to call them sneakers, so...
Now take a look at this, at what it takes with thanks to Pirelli, and we're talking about what it takes to win and compete here at the 6 Hours of the Glen.
Well, the guys really have to gear up for this. 3,000 tires, Dorsey. Imagine mounting those. 800 rain tires in case we have some inclement weather, which we typically do have here for these 6-hour events, and 20 crew members, 7 engineers, huge trucks bringing massive amounts of wheels and tires every weekend.
In that interview that Brian conducted with Romain Dumas, we heard him talking a lot about the gurney and changes that were made. He's not talking about Alex Gurney, but he's talking about something that Alex's father, Dan, developed. Dorsey, tell us more.
Absolutely. Dan Gurney made this, and what it is, it's a 90-degree flap that goes right at the top of the wing, and there's different dimensions of those. It sticks up right along the edge of the wing there. You can't really see it because the car's going by. We've got a good shot of it right there. Anyway, what it does is it creates a lot more downforce and a little bit more drag, so it's a very good adjustment. It's a tunable piece that can be slid in and slid out. A bigger one, a taller one gives you more downforce, shorter one gives you less, etc., less drag and so forth. But Dan Gurney, his father, he invented it. They named it after him, Gurney flap.
So there you go. That's exactly what Dumas was talking about as we're slowly working our way back to green. Yes, we had 9 full course cautions here last year, and we're slowly getting towards that mark. Lights are still on the Pontiac G8 pace car.
This is our 6th and longest one so far. Most of these actually all of these but one were caused by accidents. One of them was debris, and this one is our longest so far.
See if we can check in with one of the drivers out there right now. Max Angelelli, how are things going out there today, mate?
Pretty good, I guess, but still a bit early to say. I want to try to win this one.
I know you want to win this 6-hour. Wayne never won it. You want to win it for the team here today. Early in the going during that first double stint you had the fastest car on the racetrack. Pruitt's taken fastest lap away from you. Do you have the car to get to the checkered flag first tonight?
The car is very good, and the car is still the same, the one I left. So I'm guessing I'm probably going to steal the fastest lap from Pruitt.
All right, mate. Best of luck.
What we're seeing, the trend in Grand Am right now, there's been domination for years from the Riley chassis. It is still a very fast car, but we're seeing the challenges come from the likes of Dallara. Angelelli was on board that, and the Lola, in which Nick Johnson has just stepped from.
Yeah, Nick pretty happy about where that car is right now. And Nick, I talked to Jeff Hazel a little bit earlier saying the car looks good. Where did you guys get lost? What did you find? Typical Jeff Hazel. Oh, I don't really know. We just kind of taking a stab at it right now. I don't believe him.
Well, actually, there's a little bit of truth. We've been working on the car, doing almost like NASCAR, doing the race there, and we got, tire pressures left and right. Then we done like a little bit of wing gurney and stuff in the rear, and now the car is back to where it was the first day, and we seem to be on pace again. So hopefully we can be out, up front there and running for the victory tonight.
The great thing about this race, so much time, a lot of time for some teams that don't have that outright speed to kind of adjust themselves into the race.
We'll see if they can do it. 1 win and 3 DNFs. What a record for the season. It might just be 2 wins. Sometimes those commercial breaks work our way, sometimes they don't. This one is a positive. We're back just in time to catch the restart. Scott Pruitt out in front. We'll have a nice, clear, clean track up ahead to get on with things and continue leading this race. The 45 Orbit BMW behind him, that's not for position. And in that car is Bill Aublin. He is the first car not on the lead lap. Here we go, back to racing at the Glen. And look at them scramble for positions and try and put moves on each other further back in the pack.
And the key is you cannot initiate a pass until you cross the stripes, so the guys have to be really patient there, especially, Dorsey, when the DPs have GT cars right in front of them here.
Yeah, and of course, one of those was second place. Max Angelelli had 3 cars between him and Pruitt, the leader. He wanted to get by them as quickly as possible, still does.
Oswaldo Negri in the 60. Putting a move on there, and in the 6, it's Michael Valiente after a very successful start to this race. Look at the 10 of Angelelli, trying to get by the 13 Bayer racing car, and does so successfully. But he knows that Timo Bernhard is coming hard and fast.
Well, he got 2 of them. There's only 1 between him now and Pruitt. That's for first and second, and Bernhard's not that far back either.
And look at young Jordan Taylor there doing a great job in the 13 car. He's going to feel some pressure here in a moment that he is going to be on from the Penske machine.
Might be some carbon fiber, too.
Well, it's a big learning experience for young Jordan, who's just graduated high school. He's off to the University of Central Florida to begin his mechanical engineering degree. We wish him well with that, and he's learning a lot right now. He is in the hot pot.
He really is here. I mean, the Bayer car has been really fast today. Ricky Taylor started it, did a great double stint. Mike Forrest did a great job, and Jordan's been fast this weekend as well. So you just got to stay out of the way of these leaders. You don't want to aggravate anyone, Dorsey, because payback can be awful.
Yeah, and he's just learning. He's got a long way going. Payback couldn't be fun at all.
So the order is Pruitt, and then Angelelli, then Timo Bernhard. Then we've got the Mike Shank cars. Gee, they've had a strong weekend here at Watkins Glen. Normally one does well, one might have some misfortune, but both the 6 and the 60 have been in the mix right from the start.
Yeah, they're running 4th and 6th, and they've been on the top 5 or 6 all day long. They've never been separated by more than a car from one another.
They roll off the truck fast every weekend, it seems, in 2009 season, and they've really worked hard with Ford. All of the resources that Ford have given them in terms of the shaker rig testing and everything, they've absolutely exhausted to make sure they have fast cars. And what it does, particularly when you have a gentleman driver in the cars, it really allows them to have a bit more seat time. Normally you're working on the setup, Dorsey, with Michael Valiente and Osvaldo Negri, but now with the cars being so quick, they can give Mark and John a bit more time, and that's really reflected in what we've seen today. Those guys are fast as well now.
Mark Patterson and John Pugh, I mean, hats off to those guys. I'm telling you, they're up against the best road racers in the world, and they're holding their own. As gentlemen drivers, they're the 2 of the best that there are, period, anywhere.
They are really quick now.
An update on the 70. It is the most recent race winner in GT has been handed a penalty, speeding on pit lane on that last stop. Speeding on pit lane, and so too was the 30. However, different penalty, allegedly jumping the start for the 30 Racer's Edge Marquis Jet Mazda RX-8. Scott Pruitt put 2 seconds on his competitors on that first flying lap. Pruitt over Angelelli over Bernhard. It's Lexus over Ford power over Porsche power. We go to GT and talk about Porsche. Dirk Werner fending off Robin Liddell.
I tell you what, though, Mike Johnson has performed some magic on the 57 car, because it was fast, but it was blistering those tires. Now has settled everything down. They continually make adjustments, and he is really quick again.
Yeah, he lowered that rear ride height, which was really a time-consuming thing to do, but he knew that the other adjustments weren't going to be adequate to take care of the problem they had, and it worked. I mean, he knows what he's doing. Michael Johnson's impressed me more than just this weekend. He really has a good grasp on making these calls.
Well, we enjoy watching these GT cars. Let's hear from the defending race winner.
Well, Memo Rojas, big smile on your face. You've got to be happy because the car's been fast all day. Looking at the field, do you see any threats out there?
Well, obviously it's a long race, so anything can happen at this point. We have a good car, a fast car that can keep up the pace to be at the lead. So hopefully we have like 2 hours to go, or a little bit less than that. So hopefully we'll stay there and get our first win.
We've talked about you and your physical training this year. You did a 3-hour stint in the middle of this race. How did all that help in comparison to last year?
Well, honestly, I'm not sure if I would have been able to do that 3-hour stint at that level like I did now. We led most of my laps and ran a quick slap of the race at that point. So I guess it must be working.
I assume Scott's going to close this thing out?
Yeah, that's right. We're less than like an hour and 40 minutes to go, so it's probably, if nothing, if he feels okay, it's probably going all the way.
Well, you know, Scott's going to go as hard as he can trying to get their first win of the year.
Well, the bad news for everybody else in this race is that when Scott Pruitt gets this car out in the lead in clean air, he runs faster lap speeds than any other car here. So not only is he in the lead, but he's extending lead, as he did at the beginning. When the green flag dropped, this car took off. Now it's taken off again, and we're running out of time.
And I think this is really the difference this year. Memo Rojas has really done a tremendous job, Dorsey. He's got so much more confidence, and the team has now got the confidence in him. I mean, you talk to Scott Pruitt, you talk to Timmy Keane, you talk to the mechanics. They know that they can slot Memo in, and he can go out and pretty much do the same job as Pruitt now, and they couldn't rely on that last year.
And he said it himself right there. Last year, I couldn't do a 3-hour stint, not pushing that hard. I wasn't physically able. These are physical race car drive. You know, it's very hard to drive at that level for that long period of time. You have to be in tip-top shape, and quite honestly, last year he wasn't.
All of a sudden, 2 seconds has become 5 seconds. That is first to second. As we pick up the gentleman Jack Crawford here for Children's Howard Motorsports. And Rob Finlay is behind the wheel, taking over from Andy Wallace. Been a bit of a tough weekend for these guys. Been a tough run, actually, since they had promising signs at VIR, which is kind of their home track. And they said that, you know, there's been better times. They're working, they're trying everything they possibly can to extract some more speed from this car.
Spoke to Randy Wallace yesterday, and he said the biggest problem we're having, we just cannot generate enough tire temperature with this car. It's like 40 to 50 degrees down, Dorsey. And he said what that then does when you're running around, you suddenly get pickup on the tires. You're not generating enough heat to really scrub those tires, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse. And suddenly the car's just a nightmare. You don't know what it's going to do next.
Well, somewhere within this car is a gremlin that is hiding, and it's hiding quite cleverly, because Max Crawford knows what he's doing, and they've thrown everything they can do at this car, and it's not responding. There's something wrong in there, and they just haven't found it yet. It's going to be some little quirky thing, and it's just eluded them so far, and it's got them all frustrated, and I don't blame them, because they're a better team than where they're at right now.
I spoke to another crew member this morning. They said, you know what, we rolled out at the beginning of the year, did some testing, it was really quick. We went to Daytona, the car was fast, but remember, they started blowing up tires. They had to change the setup, and in one of the spins that they had, they did quite a bit of damage. And now thinking back, when did we lose pace? And it was right at that point. They came back for the Daytona race. They didn't have the same speed. They wonder whether maybe they damaged something on the chassis that they have not seen yet.
And it was a high-speed crash. It was like 180 mile an hour, so it wasn't exactly a light one. Taking it easy, kicking back and watching and enjoying. Really beautiful area of North America. Up here in upstate New York, the Finger Lakes District, and waterfalls in Watkins Glen National Park. A little closer to the downtown area. And we're up here in the Finger Lakes District of upstate New York, where there are 11 lakes in total. The big ones, of course, being Cayuga and Seneca Lake, amongst the deepest in North America. Hey, from here, we switch gears and we head over to Ohio, and Mid-Ohio will be the next round, round 6 of the Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series, and you can see it live here on Speed at 5 p.m. Eastern. That's on June 20, 5 p.m. Eastern, the next round of the Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series here on Speed. We welcome you back. Things have not changed, except Scott Pruitt has added another, has he added another second? We'll tell you as soon as Angelelli comes across the line. It's still staying at about 6.25 seconds as Angelelli continues to be hounded by Penske's Timo Bernard. Ricardo Zonta is 4th, Oswaldo Negri 5th, 6th is his teammate Michael Valiente. Brumos Racing, Joao Barbosa is 7th, 8th is Bill Aublin, Christophe Bouchou 9, and young Jordan Taylor for Bayer Racing is in the top 10.
It's interesting that Timo said that that car runs better when it's clean. We know that Pruitt's car runs best when it's on clean air as well. So obviously these cars really disrupting the back of the car. Is the car in front of you is dumping so much dirty air that they really are losing from that.
Right now, Timo's the fastest car on the racetrack. Just ran a 142.8. Fastest lap of the race today is 141.7 by Pruitt about 30 minutes ago.
And Calvin, this is the time of day you just saw it back there where the sun becomes a real nuisance, because you turn right into it and the glare off this this Watkins Glen racetrack blinds you temporarily. There's about 3 places on this racetrack a lap that you go directly into the sun, and you really lose reference of where the sides of the road are. There's one of them right here.
Whoa, a moment there for Oz Negri. The back stepped out and he caught it very well.
And again, mid-corner, he really couldn't see where he was at in position on the racetrack, and that could have been that little mistake you just saw.
It's a lap car in front of Oz. He's going to be chasing down Ricardo Zonta in the bright green chrome machine. Will be next on his list.
It's Bill Aublin, who is actually 8th in this race. He's just a little bit out of slot there, isn't he? Driving in the Orbit BMW.
He's a late addition to the car this weekend. Sorry, Lee. He just got drafted in this morning. There's a lot of chatter this week about whether Bill would join the team. Was here running the Coney Challenge event here yesterday. This morning the team made the decision to slot Bill in.
Of course, he had no time to drive the car before the race, so when he dropped in there, it was the first lap in the car.
Switching gears and talking GT for a moment. One car that has led today is the 70 Speed Source Mazda, but as we told you a few moments ago, it got handed a penalty for speeding on pit road. Let's go to the Speed Source camp.
Lee, it was the 69 car that won last year, and the 70 car looks like the car to beat in GT today, but Sylvan, penalty for speeding on pit lane. What happened there?
Obviously just pushing real hard, trying to get the advantage with the yellow, trying to beat the double yellow, and I must have missed it by, I guess, this much. But hard to fire myself. Great team effort. You know, we had a great car today. It's not over. Still an hour and 25 minutes to go. But to go from 1st to 7th, it's pretty frustrating. So I'm disappointed for Castro. I'm disappointed for Mazda, but it's not over. We'll keep working at it.
Well, the car's still looking strong, and as the temperatures are starting to cool down, how does that affect the Mazda?
Makes it better for us. I mean, we didn't show what we wanted in qualifying, but we've been tuning on it all day. We actually did a damper change during one of the pit stops, and, you know, doing tire pressures, playing with the bars, and we've tuned on it and tuned on it and tuned on it. It's getting better and better and better, so hopefully the cool temperatures will play into our hands.
I know it's been a very difficult for you and the team, but coming off that victory at Laguna, what did that do for everybody?
That was great. You know, we had such a rough Daytona, and you know, to go to Mazda Raceway and to win in front of Mazda, in front of Castrol, and to do it in dominating fashion with a great car, that was pretty special. Special for me, special for the team.
Well, there's plenty of time left on the clock. We'll see if these guys can go back to back.
Well, speeding on pit lane, some people say, well, how does that happen? You have a pit lane speed limiter, which is incorporated into the electronics on the car, but you still got to slow it down when you hit pit lane initially. So as Sylvania was coming into the pits, exceeded the initial entry there. You got to get on the brakes, you got to slow it down, and then that limiter kicks in.
Of course, like you say, the last moment of braking you can leave it to, and slamming that brake on and getting down that pit lane, that gains you as well. And that's what he was talking about when he was trying to get as much as he could out of that.
For those of you turning on, the big news, the huge news in this motor race today, the top two in the Daytona Prototype Championship are out of the race. The 99 Gainsco Bob Stallings car and the 58 Brumos Porsche. They collided. Both teams were having their respective problems individually, autonomously. However, on track they came together and they are both out of this race for different reasons. However, that has a big effect on this championship, and it puts cars like this one, the 01, cars like this one, the 10, really in contention and suddenly back in the championship chase.
Oh, it changes the complete complexion of this championship season. I mean, everyone after that last win for the 99 car said, how do we catch up? It's so difficult. There's such a small margin between the positions, Dorsey, and they said the 99 are one of the most consistent teams out there. How do we catch them back up? Well, you need them to have a bad day like they're having today.
The only way to catch them back up, honestly, is for them to DNF, not finish a race and get points. And that's what's going to happen today to the top two. And it's going to make this whole top group right on top of one another and make it interesting for the remainder of this season.
Well, traffic has played a factor, certainly, but Angelelli just laid down a lap in the mid-42s to Pruitt's mid-43, so he just sliced a second off that lead, is now down to under 3 seconds.
Let's give some credit to a GT car out there at the moment. Actually, behind Angelelli is the 88 Porsche there, the white one. It's a third Farnbacher Lowe's Porsche, and it has road racing legend Jack Baldwin, Dave Lacey, and former NFL player Steve Johnson behind the wheel. I did ask the boys, I said, hey, just give us a stat for the TV broadcast. Give us your cumulative weight for the three drivers. And they said, no way, because these guys are three big men and three fit men, but they are large specimens, that's for sure.
I talked to Jack, earlier about his expectations for this car. This car is not as up to speed. It's an older car. He said, you know what? He goes, we would be so elated to be in the top 5, just to finish first. Then the top 5 would be really, really great. If we could just keep clean and going. But like you said, they have a weight disadvantage because these are three. You wouldn't want to get into a well, I want them on my side if we're getting kind of an altercation. Big boys here.
Well, they're in the top 10 in class, which is a good run. We haven't seen Steve Johnson and Dave Lacey for a while, and Jack just drives every now and then. He does the 24 typically each year, so it's good. It's a good run for these guys, and Farnbacher Lowe's are pleased to have them back on board. Yes, watching eagerly, so are we, and this one is far from done. Still more than an hour left to run here in the 6 hours of the Glen.
Takes the lead with 40 minutes to go.
Yes, he will emulate his father. 40 years, the anniversary, and the boys. On the day they celebrate their 40th race together in Daytona prototypes, John Fogarty, Alex Gurney are back in the winner's circle. Finally, everybody associated with Proto Auto and Chrome Racing can say they have gone to victory lane. Zonta and Johnson do it in the rain at New Jersey Motorsports Park. The 2007 champions are turning up the heat in their home state. Fogarty and Gurney do it at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. That was a compelling victory. And how dramatically things can turn around in just the space of one race meeting. Let's continue talking about the Gainesco squad. Let's go to their camp.
Yeah, our points leader's the car underneath the tent here, up on jack stands, but nobody working on it, Alex. Obviously, the day's over.
Yeah, it's over. I mean, just wasn't our day today. I mean, we had so many things go wrong. Had something fall off the front end in the beginning, and we cut a rear tire. Later on, I got into manning. And then at the end there, you know, when I got in, we were in good shape. John, you know, was all the way up to 5th, and you know, we were back in the hunt there points-wise. And you know, Donahue, I guess, just got in a little deep and ran into the side of me. He came by and apologized, so that's the way it is.
Well, so, you know, where do you go from here? Hey, how did that go with David when he came over here? I mean, is everything going to be okay between you two?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, I kind of did the same thing to Darren Manning earlier in the race, so I can't talk too much. You know, I know he doesn't mean to do those things, and but it's tough when you know, we're leading the championship, and you know, just one of those days.
Obviously, a lot of disappointment down here, and like Alex said, the Brumos camp is right next door. That car also up in the air, but they are trying to fix that car. And thinking back, guys, it sounds like David made a little bit of a mistake here. He also made a mistake at VIR getting to the back of Scott Pruitt.
Well, Chris, you remember we said earlier that it has massive championship implications. Take a look at this. Points as they stand, and it would be a dramatic turnaround. They came in with an 8-point advantage. They would drop to 3rd, because look who would be tied for 1st, both the SunTrust and Ganassi teams. Now that's with still an hour and a quarter of racing to go. Anything can happen here at Watkins Glen as we go into the evening. Temperatures drop, but it's a massive turnaround. The Ganassi team were thinking they had to win every race from here on out at the beginning of the day just to even stand a chance of winning the championship, defending their title. All of a sudden, in the space of this classic race, they're back in the hunt.
And the irony is the only DP car that could potentially still run here and overtake the 99 car, they've dropped all the way back to 15th in class, is David Donahue. So if the 58 now gets back out on the racetrack, they're going to take valuable points away. So they'll drop even further behind. And as we say it, there it is. They've got the 58 machine back underway.
Got to wonder with the 99 what is broke so severe that they won't attempt to fix it, or they're not able to fix it, I should say, which would be more likely.
Yeah, it's strange, Dorsey. When we looked at the replays, I mean, David really got him in between the wheels, but he took that rough ride across the dirt there. And as you say, that it's strange that there's nothing that they can't fix to get him back out there with over an hour to go.
I mean, these cars, if one thing they've proven over the years to be extremely tough. You know, they can take a pretty good wallop, and you can fix most anything with being a tube-frame car. But it surprised me that there's something there that they either don't have that broke, and that's probably what's happened, you know, or they just can't fix it for some reason, because you'd surely make the effort if you could.
The fight for top honors in GT, top honors for which Pontiac finishes ahead of the other, and this is the banner car. The Leighton Reese Performance Group, the defending class champions, up against the Stevenson Motorsports Pontiac of Robin Liddell and Andrew Davis. This is a very spirited fight in 2009. They really want to be the best Pontiac team. This car sits 2nd at the moment at the hands of Paul Edwards. Dirk Werner leads the class, and he has about a 4-second gap on this car here. And then we drop back to 3rd, Liddell. Eric Lux for Farnbacher-Lowles is 4th, and Spencer Pumpelly, the points leader coming into this round, is 5th in GT. Chris, you've got more?
Well, you guys were wondering what is so broken on the 99 car, why they can't get back out there. Essentially, the floor of the car is so damaged that they would have to pull the floor completely off, and then also the back end of the car is so full of rocks that it would just take so much cleanup time, so much time to pull that floor off, try and get things fixed, that they just realize at this point there's no more pickup in the points.
Well, that is the Achilles heel of one of those cars, is if you have to pull that flat bottom floor off, you got to lift the car all the way off the top and basically disassemble the whole thing. It's quite time consuming, and they deemed it not worth the effort.
Yeah, I think they probably looked at the scoreboard and realized they weren't going to catch any of the other DP cars there, but maybe they didn't think about the 58 car getting back out there as they've done. So a couple of points.
58's headed back to pit road, so they're going back in to check exactly what's going on after their outlap. Pruitt, Angelelli and Bernhard. However, the 10 will need to pit before the others. Let's check that out when we come back.
Well, you talk about history here at Watkins Glen. Take a look back here. This is 1970 when I was just a lad. The year before I started driving. This is what the cars looked like then. They were really loose. That race would be won by legendary Pedro Rodriguez driving with Leo Kanunen. 1970 here at the Glen.
Pretty cool stuff, huh? Those cars were magic.
And the crowds we had, buddy, let me tell you something. This place would rock and roll.
And I can tell you that our statistician, the Polish prince, Rick Radajak, was here that day.
Now that looks very much like Le Mans to me, boys, where it'll be next week.
Looking forward to it. We've got 18 and a half hours of coverage in total, and it will be brilliant. How about the 3 weeks we've got? The 6 hours of the Glen this week, Le Mans next week, and then we go to Mid-Ohio. Fantastic stuff. And that's coming your way next Saturday live here on Speed, 8:30 in the morning. Yes, this battle continues in GT. You just saw the leader just go out of sight there. That's Dirk Werner. He's got now 7 seconds over Paul Edwards. Let's hear from Paul's co-driver.
Kelly Collins having a little stretch here before we talk to him. Kelly, early on, we know the Pontiacs were having a little bit of an issue with rear tire wear as the temperatures have come down. How's that helping the Banner car?
It's helping us quite a bit. We had to actually ease up a little bit on throttle application, getting the power down, try not to spin the tires. I think that the previous race it had the other tire compound on the track other than the Pirellis. Might have messed a lot of people up there at the very beginning. We don't seem to have the same problems we had before.
Okay, talking to Mike Johnson earlier, he said the car's in good shape up until about 45 minutes into the stint. Can you guys go a whole stint?
Yeah, we can go a whole stint right now. We set our car up very soft. We've got a lot of push in our car, understeer, and we were able to actually go a full stint and then about 4 extra gallons just on the last set of tires.
Well, the Pontiacs look like they're going to be strong here in the late going, Brian.
Well, you know, he was just talking about temperature, and that temperature is good for the 87 Farnbacher team, not so good for the 66 of Kevin Buckler and Spencer Pompelli driving the 66 right now. Spoke with Kevin just a minute ago, and he said, you know, we really needed it to stay hot. Our car was so good when it was warm. We took care of the tires, and the car was really set up for that, but the weather is cooling off now, and as it does, we're losing our pace. We're watching Dirk Werner start to run away with not only this race, but remember, guys, when we came in here, Spencer Pompelli led the GT championship. We're getting close to the half halfway point here, and he led it by 1 point. So if things stay the way they are, that GT Championship lead is going to go over to Dirk Werner and Lee Keen.
Well, let me tell you, in the next hour and 10 minutes, there's going to be a lot of things that go on as this track temperature goes down, as the sun starts to set. Some of these cars will become magic. You'll see lap times drop to speeds we haven't seen in the heat, that's for sure, to go probably faster than we've seen so far. Some cars, on the other hand, are going to get worse off.
Yeah, there's going to be a real sweet spot here as the track starts to cool down. You get that cooler air into the engines. Everything seems to work that little bit better, and you still got good visibility without the sun totally setting. So we'll see some fantastic lap times here. The other thing is we've got an hour and 8 left in this race right now. These GT cars go just over an hour, probably 60 to 65 minutes. So once you get to that number, that's when you're going to start to see some of these leaders pitting, even if they're not out of fuel, because you, again, we keep talking about it, you won't want to be caught out there needing fuel and suddenly the pit lane is closed if we saw a caution at that stage.
And we see another 10 minutes of racing and catch a caution, of course, then everybody will be in and we'll be able to go to the finish. But without that, the DP cars won't go that far. They'll only go about 50, 55 at the most.
Here's Dirk Werner, GT class leader, and doing it comfortably at the moment by about 6 seconds, so he is cruising. Werner, Edwards, Liddell, Eric Lux, his teammate, and then Spencer Pumpelly. Speaking of fast lap times, just before we went to that last commercial break, Max Angelelli laid down the fastest lap of the race at a 1:41.5. This car right here is flying. However, he is lighter on the fuel load than the cars that he's chasing and that are chasing him. So he is in a sweet spot right now.
And like Calvin said, the racetrack's coming into a sweet spot because it's gaining grip on the track and you still have plenty of good visibility to be able to use that. You'll be able to see your brake markers and really utilize the fact that the racetrack is getting grippier.
I mean, these guys really are in great position here. We talked about it before. Wayne Taylor and this team have never won the 6 hours. Wayne wanted to do it, but his team would like nothing more than to bring him the trophy as a team owner here tonight. But the car they have to overhaul right now is Scott Pruitt, and this has really been the rivalry over the years in terms of Daytona prototypes. A lot of other teams and cars have entered that mix, but it's the classic 01 versus 10 battle here right now at the front of the pack.
Remember, if they stay as is, Ganassi wins and the 10 finishes second, we will have a tie for the lead of this championship, for the Daytona Championship. Daytona Prototype Championship, I apologize. So interesting stuff as this championship grows old. We're getting really into the meat of the season, and it's getting fascinating.
Hey, boys. You guys up there? He's doing a good job today up there with the flags.
You've been seeing plenty of spirited racing between the Pontiac GTOs in this race, while the Pontiac GTO Association of America are here with their Pontiac Corral and some beautiful vehicles on display. Bill Vantuono, the president of the association, is here, and we thank all of these people for their support of the Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series. Hey, what was your first car is the question of the day.
My first car was a Volkswagen Beetle, the very old model.
Chevy Blazer. Yeah, I had it lowered with big wheels and a big old boombox in the back, man. I was cool when I was 16, you know?
Volkswagen Polo, I don't know if you have that car yet, very tiny car, 60 horsepower.
My first car was a Volkswagen Rabbit.
A Toyota Camry, which was a hand-me-down from my mom.
It was a BMW 2002, one of the old little boxy ones, like a 70s 2002.
FJ62 Toyota Land Cruiser.
That's quite an embarrassing question because it was an old wreck and it was smoking and falling apart and it only cost me about $100, but it was a thing called a Renault 16.
All right, let's continue that theme. Dorse, you first, as we see the Allegra car has spun, the BMW powered Daytona prototype. It's been having a tough old day. Carlos De Quesada, it was stopped in the pits not that long ago, but Carlos is having his second stint of the day. Most important thing is that it is still running. All right, Dorse, take it away.
I think a Renault 16 smoking was new as the leader is in. Chris will be there.
Well, guys, a 6-hour endurance is turning into a 1-hour sprint race. We got the 01, we got the 10 in pit lane. This is going to come down to these two pit crews. Going to be fuel and scrub tires on the 01 car. Looks like we're going with scrubs on the 10 car, too. These guys have got to hit their marks. They're going to make sure they can get all the fuel they can in Scott Pruitt's car. Just waiting on fuel on that car. Max Angelelli's car still up in the air. Looks like the right front wheel gun problem. Looked like a little bit of a problem up on that right front corner. It looks like they finally got it free, but they're still waiting on fuel.
Well, that was significant because Max had several more laps that he'd done on his tank. Oh, there's contact there. 59 car trying to hit its marks, and Angelelli was exiting.
I don't think there was any damage. It looked like a good side-to-side smack.
Look at the front left. Brian?
Ricardo Zonta in the Proto Auto Lola Ford Power, and right now it's going to be fuel and tires. It's like you say, Calvin, you want to be the first to do the last, and that's exactly what this group of cars is doing right now, taking this opportunity to get this stop done in case of full course caution were to come out. Getting done with the rest of the pit stop, making an adjustment to the rear wing. Actually, the rear wing broken on this car. You can see it just above the right stanchion. There's a crack in the main cord of this wing, so they're going to have to replace it, and that is disappointing for them. Remember, the faster you go, the more downforce the wing creates, and that's only going to aggravate the crack that's in it. This is going to be a lengthy fix here, Chris.
Yeah, Brian, took a look at that right front corner on the 59 car. Everything looked good there, so I imagine the contact wasn't too bad. But the 59 car was definitely coming in. There was not much that they could do. Max Angelelli was just sent out right in front of them.
Let's take you back and show you a very close call with the SunTrust and the Ganassi pit stops. Watch the Ganassi crewmen. Watch how close this was. Look to the right. Oof. And then from the outside, look to the right. Boy, that was close.
That's scary. So glad that these guys are now wearing these helmets on pit lane. And now let's look at the contact as Angelelli peels out of the pit. Here comes the 59.
I don't know if they got together now. I'll tell you one thing. Those crew guys are so focused. It's just like a receiver getting a football. You just keep your eyes on the ball. He never even winced when that car got close to him.
What's significant there, you may think that the 01 team did a much faster pit stop. It was faster, but Angelelli had less fuel in his tank. He was probably running pretty close to empty, whereas Pruitt had not exhausted all of his because he had not had as many laps on the board on that previous stint.
I think there were five or six laps difference between the two cars. So. And Oz Negri has been serviced. The Mike Shank Ford is back out there. Oz is looking good for a podium today. This is a good, strong run, and will be a good shot in the arm for the Mike Shank team.
But with just under an hour to go, a lot left that could happen.
All right, we need to flick this around.
No, that's not working right.
That's not right.
It's not good.
Even for you, Dorsey, that's the wrong line through that corner.
I think just backed into the barrier, I think.
That is the Matt Connolly battery tender Pontiac GTO, and team principal Matt Connolly behind the wheel. It was heavily damaged earlier in the race, and the team did a good job to fix it and at least get the car back out there.
And that's really a testimony to that team, the way they scrap and really fight. To have a car here this weekend, and then when you have a big crash, to really just get the car back out there.
All right, watch this Penske stop, and we'll see where he gets cycled back out in relation to the 01 and the 10. Pressure on the Penske boys. Watch them. How well do they perform?
8 wins for Penske Racing at Watkins Glen International, but 0 wins in the Rolex Sports Car Series. They've won here in Trans Am, Can-Am, USRRC. They know how to get it done. They're just still trying to figure out how to get it done in a Daytona prototype. Right now, the pit stop getting done. Now, interestingly enough, they are going with sticker tires. Most of the teams have for this last stop. Some have run scuff tires throughout the day, but right now, stickers on the 12 car and it's back underway.
Pruitt is coming onto the main straight. Look to the right here. Here comes the 01 Ganassi car, and he will hold the advantage. That was good work from the Penske squad. Now he may be able to get out in front of Max Angelelli. Angelelli has just come onto the front straight. This could be advantage Penske.
Problem will be, sorry Cal, the problem's going to be is he's on sticker tires. It's not going to be up to temperature. He cannot run at the same speed. Watch here. Did he make it out, Kyle? I don't think he did.
Yeah, he's in front of me. He's right there. He's up in the S's. He's certainly got the track position, but as you said, on sticker tires, it's going to take him a lap or so to get these up to temperature and scuff those in. Timmy Keane and the 01 team have gone with scuff tires for the last couple of stints here this evening. So Angelelli will be much faster on this lap. Will he be able to get onto the tail of Timo Bernhard and take advantage of it?
Well, it takes a lap, 2 laps at least, to get these temperatures up and to get the pressures where they need to be. You're a sit and duck right now to a guy like Angelelli that's got that happening.
So, the 01 Ganassi Lexus Riley holds the power. What's going to happen here for second? Will Timo Bernhard be able to hold off a hard-charging Max Angelelli? We'll tell you when we come back. If you're into motorsports, you have to check in weekly to the Speed Report. Of course, every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. This week, hosted by my friends and colleagues Bob Varsha, Chris Devoda, with everything from this weekend in motorsport and every weekend. The Speed Report, every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Let's get it to the pits as we welcome you back to Watkins Glen.
Well, Paul Edwards pulling the 07 Pontiac out of pit lane. High fives by Leighton Reese's crew. Great stop. Tires were perfect. Filled it up with fuel. He had taken the lead because the Farnbacher Lowells had come into pit lane. Sounds like they're coming down the front straight right now. Now, I think the big question is we've been watching the back tires on the Pontiacs all day, but the temperature has come down significantly in the last hour, and it's going to continue to drop. So I don't think rear tires are going to be a problem. But one thing I saw earlier with Paul Edwards, after his initial stint, the team said he drank way too much water too quickly and felt ill for a couple hours. So is Paul Edwards ready to get back out there and take it to the fight?
Well, the fight is on right now. Did you see how close that was?
That was really tight because this is the 87 car that was leading before, and that is essentially could be for the lead and the win here tonight because there's some other cars out there that have track position, but they're going to need to stop also. So it's really important for those Pontiacs to get in and out in front of this 87 machine. So he's got the track position, Dorsey, and he has hot tires right now.
Yeah, and that's going to take a while for Paul Edwards to get his tires up to temperature. Plus the 59 Brumos car, you see it there, could play into this as well. And here comes the other, the 58 car. Those are faster cars that are going to get in the way of these two GT battlers.
Well, next up is the 57. It is in. Where is this going to cycle through? Chris, talk us through.
Well, when Paul Edwards came in, the 57 was right on his tail. So now it comes down to pit crews making sure that they can get everything done here and also fuel going into the car. So we're going to have to just kind of sit and watch and see when Paul Edwards comes out of turn 11. But everything going well with this pit stop. And we got to really kind of put kudos on for this team because they were way out of the ball game early in this race. And they've just worked hard, adjusted themselves back in. And now they've got a good car. The car is down, just waiting on those last drops of fuel.
It takes a long time, Calvin.
It really does on these cars.
This is Werner into turn 10. Turn 11 will take him to the front straight. So I don't think the Stevenson guys are going to be up there with Werner, but they may get out ahead of the 07. This is going to be tight. This is going to be a fantastic scrap. The 07 has just come onto the front straight. The 57 won't have enough for Werner here because Werner's already gone by, but it's going to be close between the two Pontiacs.
There you see the 07 weaving around, trying to get that tire temperature up a little bit quicker than he normally would just through running through the corners. Oh, and the 57's got stuck behind traffic there, exiting pit lane. The 07 is through.
Oh, the two car came right in front of him, and now they're on the drag race up the hill.
Oh, this is pressured seconds here for Robin Liddell. He needs to be hard on the gas there up through the S's. There you see it, the 87 car. Now, this is not the overall leader in this is not the GT leader right now. A couple of other cars still have to make pit stops. Nick Cam, Pompelli, Asentato currently run 1, 2, 3. They need to stop fuel still.
Oh, dear. The two car with more trouble. Locked up a big break right there. It's going to hold up Robin Liddell even further. That's frustrating.
It's tough stuff for Robin Liddell. Good stop, though, from all of those leading GT teams. When the pressure was on, the team personnel performed. Great team effort. For the final stop of the evening.
This is really exciting stuff. And remember, the top 3 in GT still have to stop for fuel.
51 minutes to go. And as far as overall, Scott Pruitt has a 9-second lead. All right, this car hits pit road as the class leader. Let's watch it.
Yeah, guys, he's coming off that big victory back at Laguna Seca just a couple weeks back. Going to be a perfect stop, but they were a little bit further back than the 57, so I don't think they're going to take the lead on this pit stop. They're hoping for a caution sometime after this stop now. And with these cooler temperatures, guys, it has really come down. This little Mazda can really come to life, really getting that rotary motor, a lot more power out of it as the temperature continues to drop. So that's exactly what Nick Ham and Sylvain Tremblay want here. And these guys are down, just waiting on a little bit more fuel at the back end of the car, and Nick Ham's going to be away.
Well, what's significant with this Mazda actually has a slightly larger fuel cell, 24 gallons instead of 22 on the Porsches and the Pontiac, so that'll be significant here. It'll take another 3 or 4 seconds to top him up.
Boy, it just seems like it takes forever. There he is sitting there waiting to win, trying to win, stuck in pit lane.
You could probably gamble and pull it out. You got 50 minutes to go. They'll normally run an hour plus, so you don't need a full fuel load, but it's really hard to measure and get it right.
So the front runners in GT are serviced. Front runners in Daytona prototype service. It's just good hard racing from here on out. Final time today, we're going to remind you about the special Pirelli Edition Ford Flex giveaway. This is the car designed by Chip Foose. Hey, watch out for that special code word. I think it might be easy to spot. Go to grandam.com/Foose. Enter this special prize word that's on a yellow banner, and you will go into the running to win that special Pirelli Edition Ford Flex. It's a great competition, and you'll receive that car if you are the lucky winner overall at Homestead Miami Speedway at the grand finale. Rolex race summary: Pruitt, the current leader, and the current GT leader, Spencer Pumpelly, has just come onto pit road. 16 lead changes today.
4 new Pirelli tires going on the Porsche here for TRG. Spencer Pumpelly really has the championship in his own hands. I talked to Kevin Buckler about why they weren't the first to come there when the window opened, and he said, you know, we just didn't have the speed. We had to play a different strategy. Sometimes you got to play the hand you're dealt. They don't have the speed today, so they thought, we'll stay out as long as we can. We'll troll for a yellow, and if we get split from the rest of the field with the pace car, then we'll be able to get all the way around behind them, get a little more advantage. That's really our only hope. So they did all they could. They didn't get the caution that they needed, so Pumpelly now is going to drop well back in the order, waiting for the fuel to go in. The tires are on. Stop is done. Finishing his cool suit, and he's back underway.
Well, one thing there, Brian, it looks like they took a full fuel load, but with 46 minutes to go, they probably only needed about 3/4 of a tank of fuel. So that would drop it from a 44-second fuel stop down to 33. So that's significant, but it looked to me like they were waiting on the last drops.
Also, it took a little longer to hook up the cool suit, and I don't know why you'd even need that right now. It's getting cool out on its own, and you could do this last 45 minutes without it.
Well, Dorsey, he's been in the car for quite a while. He's really worn out. This will be 2.5 stints that he does, and as you well know, even though it's cool outside, it is very warm in that car. They got to give him all the aids that he can. He's going to be a worn-out guy.
Oh, Brian.
Last time round, a 1:43.9 against a 1:45.2. That's why Angelelli has got by Penske's Timo Bernhard. Up into second.
He is flying. He's had the fastest lap of the race lead at 1:41.5, but he's now 6.3 seconds behind the leader, Scott Pruitt. Can he chase him down? Can SunTrust get that first victory here at the 6 Hours at the Glen?
Watch for the split. There's Pruitt going through. Here comes Angelelli. Can't quite see him yet, but when he can, it's magic.
45 minutes to go. That's a long time here at Watkins Glen. So Wayne Taylor's SunTrust team has time on their side, laps on their side. Shadows starting to come into effect here. We go into the early part of the evening, and this has been a magical day weather-wise and a very interesting race. Let's take you back and show you how Max the Axe got by Germany's Timo Bernhard.
You see already he's got him set up doing a slipstream. This going up into turn 7. He goes, that's a good pass zone. Outbreaks him. And I didn't know about the TRG that a Porsche up in front could have even used as a pick. But he got it done before that, Cal.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, Max is just magic on the brakes. We always call him the last of the late breakers, Max the Axe. And he just took it right through there. And he has a strong car. Penske boys certainly didn't have anything for that attack, but right now he is just going to be looking ahead, looking for that blue and white machine, looking for traffic to help him out. Maybe Scott Pruitt will get balked a little bit, maybe get a clean run. There'll be an ebb and flow to this race over the last 43 minutes.
This is a pleasurable time of the day to be a race car driver. You're in the car's warm, yes, but it's cool out. The sun's no longer in your eyes, everything's calming down, and your focus is laps running down. It's time to win the race. Man, this is fun. I almost want to be in the car right now again.
Let's give a shout out to the co-drivers, because obviously it's always easy to heap praise on the stars, the big names, the Angelellis, the Pruitts. But how about Memo Rojas? He did exactly what was asked of him in the 01 Ganassi car. So too did Brian Frizzell.
Yeah, Brian Frizzell had a great day today. And Brian, right now your teammate looks great. Just got by the Penske car. He's really got his eyes on. What does he have for the 01?
You know, I think we have something for the 01. They're really good. You know, they've been awesome all weekend, but Max is doing a good job. He currently has fastest lap of the race. I think he can reel him in.
The 01 car, very trimmed out. You guys, a little bit more downforce when this thing comes down to it. If we get a caution, we get him nose to tail. Which would you rather have?
It's hard to say. I mean, Max just made a move on the Penske. They were a lot more trimmed out, but he got him in the brakes where we'll be better. So, you know, it's hard to say. I like our strategy right now. There's a great finisher out there. It's Max, so hopefully he'll go get it done.
Now, you know this race has eluded Wayne Taylor. How important would it be for you to try and give him that win?
It'd be huge. I mean, winning the 6 hour at the Glen, it's a major feather in the cap. So if we could do that, that'd be awesome.
Well, these guys are looking great. Just the time is running out.
Calvin, that was a very good point he just brought up right there, is that if you have a higher downforce setup, you have superior braking. If it does get close, if there's a caution, Max is going to be tough.
Yeah, he's really going to bury in there if he sees an opportunity, and I think he's going to be aggressive. I mean, at this stage of the championship, you think, okay, these boys could be tied at the top at the end of the day, but they want race wins, and they really want this one. This is really one of those classic races, just like the 24-hour race at Daytona. You want to win the 6-hour. You don't want to look back and say, oh, we had a runner-up there, another podium. You want the win.
Behind the top three, the lead trio is the 60, the best of the Mike Shank Racing Fords, Mark Patterson and Oswaldo Negri. Oz is behind the wheel. They're coming off their best finish of the year, which was a 5th at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. They really had to scrap and fight hard for that, but a top 5 was a good result, and here they are in 4th position. Both cars are in the top 5 as we drop back to see Michael Valiente in the sister number 6 car. Very strong qualifying, good run. Credit to both co-drivers as well, Mark Patterson and John Pugh in both the 60 and the 6. The gentlemen drivers vying for that Truman Award have again done a good job, and to have both team cars in the top 5 is a huge accomplishment. Well done, Mike Shank Racing. Been a very strong weekend. Behind these guys is the 59, and this is a very promising turnaround point for JC France, Joao Barbosa, and sports car legend Hurley Haywood just having a token drive today, just whetting his appetite, and it's been a 40-year journey for Hurley here at Watkins Glen. Very memorable times, but for the Portuguese driver Joao Barbosa, this is what we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing Joao and JC, who finished 3rd in the championship last year, there at the end of the races.
Well, they had such a tremendous second half to 2008. Really went on a storm there with numerous podiums. And but right now, you know, it seemed like the Brumos guys have really lost their way, and this is really a turnaround event for these guys, because, you know, in practice they looked like they were lost again, but right now they've been tweaking on these cars, and both the 58 and the 59 are really coming on strong.
Let's go to Brumos now. Let's go to a legend. Here's Hurley Haywood with Chris.
Well, and that legend got another chance behind the wheel today. Hurley, you got to be pretty happy with that. 40 years ago, first win. Now today you're back behind the wheel, and it looks like the team's really turning around too.
Yeah, it felt good, you know, but it was a lot of work. You know, you don't realize that when you don't race since Daytona, you get rusty. And you know, I was just a real tentative out there, and it took me a while to kind of get into the pace. But it was, I had a good time. It was fun.
Now, just looking at what the 58 did today, obviously it didn't turn out well, but they really seemed to kind of find their way back into the sweet spot.
Well, we did a lot better. We found a couple things, but you know, the 01 car is just so dominant. I mean, he pulled away a 19-second spread on Timo in the first 26 minutes. So that ought to tell you something, that they've got something else that everybody else doesn't have. So we gotta work a little bit, bringing us up or them down.
Just once again, looking back at your career 40 years ago, you remember that first race?
Oh, I remember that like it was yesterday. You know, I was driving a 911, and my first lap out going up the back straightaway, there was no chicane back there. I had a Matra and a Ferrari pass me on both sides going, whoa, like, I mean, I freaked out. I said, my God, what am I doing here? But it all worked out.
You won that one, right?
Yeah, we won it.
Good stuff, great story, and we chatted with Hurley earlier this weekend. He's very reflective, of course, as is all of the Brumos team, because Mike Colucci, the team leader, grew up right here in upstate New York. SpeedTV.com is the place to get the latest racing news, commentary, and exclusive analysis from SpeedTV.com's personalities and industry experts like Timo Bernard, who's in the race today, Darren Law, who's here today, Romain Dumas, Andy Wallace, and many more. That's the voices of speed at SpeedTV.com. Welcome you back, and another reminder about the Sunoco Driver Challenge going on for the drivers in the British Series, vying for a spot to be in a Daytona prototype, the Rolex 24 next year. We wish them well. Derek Johnston is the man on top right now. So, light starting to fade, interest not. The intensity is still there. We're racing to crown a winner of the Salem 6 Hours of the Glen. It's been a good, strong day for Mike Shank Racing. Let's go right there.
Yeah, the 60 car running fourth right now. And Mark, you and Oz have had a great last year and 07, a win each year. How important is it for you to get a win? Because there's a lot of speculation that you're probably not coming back in 2010.
I'd love to come back in 2010, but yeah, it's been 5 great years with Michael Shank. We won a race last year, we won a race the year before. We're looking for a win this year for sure. And it looks like today in P4 it's going to be hard to beat Scott Pruitt. He's got the lesson book out. He's slapping drivers on the head, man. He's driving like an ace.
A lot more time behind the wheel today, but also a lot more time for you to write your blog. So your thumb's getting worn out?
Got a flat thumb, yeah. No. Our car is fantastic today. I got a very fair amount of time in the car. Absolutely top flight. I mean, these engineers set it up. It was like sleeping on his posturepedic mattress, man. I was having a ball.
Okay, Lee was talking a little bit about the chicken story earlier. How about we get it from your mouth?
Well, Mr. Chicken is the best food in town. I think Mr. Chicken is owned by the Four Seasons restaurant. I'm not exactly sure of that, but if you can get the food down, it stays with you at least an hour. It's the best chicken in the world. You got to go down here at Watkins, Glen.
Now, if we can get some Mr. Chicken sponsorship for 2010, you'll come back?
Yep, they're going to give me a $9 discount.
And Mark has a very special guest here today, Professor Tom Cooley, who is the Dean of the New York University Stern Business School. And Mark was pretty proud to have him here today. Mark was a graduate of the Stern Business School. As his teammate Oz Negri doing a great job. How about the 55? The Supercar Life Racing team, the Level 5 boys, Scott Tucker and Christophe Bouchou. They fought back from being a lap down, trying to get back on the lead lap. They had a penalty for this man here manipulating the pace car when he was leading the race, which was a little unfortunate. What do they think down there in the Supercar Life camp, Bri?
Scott Tucker sitting here on the pit box right now watching Bouchou out there on the track. And Scott, you guys have run so well this year. I know you're concentrating on the Ferrari Challenge Series as well. To go back and forth from one of those cars to this, how difficult is it? And as we look to the future, you and I have talked about Ferrari a little bit. When are we going to see the prancing horse?
Yeah, going back and forth, it's not that hard. Especially, it's not that bad. They're both mid-engine, and you know, they have a lot of similarities, except the DP's a lot faster. And you know, we're working on a development project, and I'll keep you posted.
Now, you said that's not going to appear until you know that it's going to run well. We're going to see it testing sometime soon, maybe? Give me a little bit more here, Scott.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Development, we're in development, yeah.
I don't want to play poker with this guy.
Well, he told me earlier this weekend, Brian, they hope to get it on track with some testing around August time, but he said on paper has all the right pieces, really looks good. So it'd be great to see a Ferrari badge car out there in the Daytona prototype ranks.
Sound good too.
From one BMW-powered Daytona prototype to another. From Supercar Life to Orbit Racing, 3 drivers in this car. Bill Lester, Darren Manning, Bill Auberlen. Darren is behind the wheel right now. This is his first time here in a sports car. He's finished on the podium in IndyCar Series racing here at Watkins Glen. He did 2 races previously, but this is his first in a Daytona prototype. Knows the track really well and was looking forward to today. And an interesting blend with Bill Lester and Bill Auberlen in this car for Orbit. And they're running for a good points-paying position. They're currently 8th at the moment.
They're doing a really good job, considering they haven't run all of the races this year. So hard just to skip races, Dorsey, and really stay at the front of the pack. So they come in each weekend. They've got a great engineering crew led by Steve Chalice. You've got Roger Hawley there leading the Orbit Racing team, and Peter Barron behind the scenes as well. So a good nucleus of a team that should do really well here.
And like you say, though, everybody who runs every week learns something every week, so they always keep moving that little bit ahead.
Behind these guys, running in the top 10, is the Bayer racing car. The 13, the Lennox machine. doing a good job, the young men. And here is the youngest driver of them all. Jordan Taylor is behind the wheel right now. They're running in 9th at the moment. What does Big Brother think?
Well, Ricky Taylor watching his little brother out on the racetrack. I know Mike Forrest has been in the car as well. Young team, young drivers. How much education do you get every time you come to a racetrack, not only as a driver, but as a team?
Oh, well, it's definitely a ton of learning each time we go out on the track. I mean, you look at the cars going by in the front straight, and that's one thing. And then when you get in the car, you do one stint, tons of things are happening every single lap.
And every time they show up to the racetrack, guys, both the drivers and this team just seem to get stronger, Lee.
And yes, that Taylor surname and last name is the same as Wayne Taylor, two-time World Sports Car Champ, Le Mans winner, Rolex 24 winner, and he is very proud of his two young sons, who are nice young men and really developing into fine young racers. There's just a quick overview, a quick snapshot of some of the young drivers, the youth movement in Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series competition. And that lead is expanding, contracting between Pruett and Angelelli. Tomorrow on Speed, it is something very familiar to us all. It's the boys and girls from NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, live tomorrow at 10:30 Eastern, talking about everything Pocono. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. Join John Roberts and the gang. We welcome you back to Watkins Glen. We continue in the final half an hour here at the Glen. Can anyone catch this man? Well, Max Angelelli is certainly doing his very best to bridge that gap. It got down under 4 seconds. It's now getting closer to 5.5 seconds. But sometimes it comes down. There is Angelelli in the background. He can see Pruett. A late race caution, and this thing's going to electrify.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is just traffic. I think Angelelli is a little bit quicker looking at their fast laps right now at this stage of the race, and traffic has played its part. When he got into second, it was nearly 7 seconds. He got it down to under 3, went back to 4, back to 3, and now it's up to 5.3. So that's going to be frustrating for Max, and I'm sure the team is talking to him on the radio. Just keep your head down. Don't be frustrated by the traffic. It's going to work both ways, Dorsey.
Yeah, we'll do that. In fact, they're trading fastest laps, but as you said, Calvin, traffic dictates how much they split by. It's been down to 3, it's up to 5.5, but it'll go right back again when they catch traffic.
A little further back in the field, outside the top 10 in 11th, it's the AIM Autosport Ford of Bruno Junqueira, Bert Frizzell, who's behind the wheel, and Mark Wilkins. It should have been a better day. What happened with the Canadian team?
Well, Bert Frizzell and Mark Wilkins coming off their best finish of the year, 4th at Laguna Seca, but 3,000 miles on the other coast. It was just one of those days, Mark. What's been going on with the 61?
Well, we picked up something in the rear tire early on in my run, and so we lost a little time there. And then we actually had a suspension part fail on us in the left rear after that, and that's what's really put us down these 5 laps. And you know, we've just been trying to get it back, but it's, you know, everybody's so quick. It's no matter how fast we push and how hard we try, it's a lot of time to make up in these really competitive races.
You got to share the car this weekend with Bruno Junqueira. How was that?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, I've watched Bruno for years, and the Champ Car side of things, and it was really great to have him in the car. He provided a lot of great feedback for us, and it was neat to have that experience. I mean, what can I say? To have Bruno in there is just awesome.
And this was his first time in a sports car, so what were some of his thoughts?
I think he thought it was a little bit cumbersome, a little, the braking wasn't quite as good. The handling obviously wasn't quite as good. He had to get used to the mass a little bit, but I think he started to get comfortable, and he was putting in some great times in his run, and yeah, it was just, he did a great job for us.
Well, you know, the hard part for some of these guys who are coming in, these third drivers who came in this weekend, is there just wasn't a lot of practice time, so they only got 3-4 laps out there to get comfortable with the car. But then watching Bruno during the race, he really got comfortable with the car and got that 61, really running competitive times up front with the leaders.
Yeah, he put in some great laps. He may have, in fact, had the fastest lap of the race in that car. He'd running in the high 42s, which is their fastest lap. But this team are really going to come on this year. I think they're starting to find their feet now. They've got their setup sorted out, and they're going to be a little bit stronger as this season progresses.
Here's Paul Dallenbach in the RVO Motorsports Pontiac-powered Riley. Good to see he and Roger Schramm back at it in Grand Am Series competition. And we'll see this car possibly another 2 more times this year. But Paul enjoying a run, and he's currently 13th in the Daytona prototype class. Brian?
Well, Lee, Roger Schramm has a little bit in common with you. I think you both had the same operation on your knee or your leg. He broke his a little more manly way, skiing, not on some mini bike accident. But Paul Dallenbach, who shares the car with him, a great race car driver, and, you know, you got to hand it to him. This is a guy who's won the Pikes Peak Hill Climb 5 times and had the record up the mountain, and anybody that can do that can certainly drive a car and knows about car control. 800 horsepower up the mountain, and you make a mistake in one of those corners, it's not a guardrail, it's a 1,000-foot drop down into the crevices down below.
Brian, the only difference between Roger's injury and Lee is that Roger's leg is a lot longer.
And the Dallenbach family name is a famous one in motorsports. I hear a whisper that Paul and his brother Wally may be working on a program for the future. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll be back after this, counting it down, 23 minutes to go. Stick around. As we've mentioned a couple of times today already, big week in sports car racing, not only here at the Glen, but next weekend we're in Le Mans, France for the 24-hour classic. And guess who will be there for the first time? Regular Grand Am competitor and Hollywood actor Patrick Dempsey. He tested on the shorter Bugatti circuit earlier this year, passed his test with flying colors, so to speak. Really felt a lot more confident after being there, getting in the car and testing his Ferrari 430, and is extremely excited about going. The fans are extremely excited that he is going to be there. And the Dempsey Racing Mazda is still out there and at it. It's in the top 10 in class. Patrick is behind the wheel right now. And again, a reminder of those Grand Am regulars going to Le Sarthe. There they are. It's a healthy field of Grand Am competitors heading over, isn't it?
Antonio Garcia there at the head of the list. Boy, does he have a year under his belt. He won last year at Le Mans in GT1 with the Aston Martin team. He then won the 24-hour race with the Brumos team
at Daytona.
The Daytona, and then he went on to win at Sebring in the 12-hour as well with the Vet team. So quite an accomplishment, Dorsey, in the space of 12 months.
Sure, that'd be right.
With envy.
Yeah. Isn't that the Bugatti circuit? Wasn't that where you had us in the smart car, the six of us, terrorizing us?
All right, Angelelli comes past our GT class leading car. Brian?
Greg Lowles sitting on the box down here at Farnbacher Lowles. And Greg, so far this year, you guys 4 top 10 finishes out of the 8 races that the 2 cars have run in, basically, including a win. And now things are looking good. I'm not going to give you the victory just yet. The difference between last year and this year with this team and this car seems to have turned around completely. You guys able to get the job done on a regular basis. How important is it to lead the championship at this point in the season?
Look, we're approaching the halfway point. This is an important race for us. Long races are good for the Porsche. And the weather today has allowed the tire to work very well, actually. We're very happy with the tire today. So 20 more minutes, and hopefully we can even get Wolf on the podium.
This cool weather really seems to have played into your setup as well. The cool weather and the clouds later in the afternoon. Is that working for you?
Well, you know, it's a little strange that the weather has to be such a big part of our setup, but it is. And right now, you know, it looks like, you know, in 20 minutes maybe we'll have something really nice to celebrate tonight.
I walked over here, guys. He said, give me 20 more minutes, guys. Let's not talk about winning just yet.
And you heard Greg say to Brian that we may have a chance of getting Wolf on the podium. This is what he's talking about. Robin Liddell has a rearview mirror full of the man who has won 2 times here in the 6-hour in the GT class. Scott Pruitt is the only multiple winner here in the Daytona prototype class. In GT, in the past half dozen years, Wolf Hensler is the only multiple winner.
Calvin, you said it before, it's not just the weather. They got a little help with the Porsche rear tire due to the fact of a rule change that allowed them to open a duct and put a fan that cools the surface temperature or the tread of that tire. That's certainly helping too. It's the first time we've seen it.
Yeah, but this is going to get really tight here, and certainly the weather has played a factor here today. A lot cooler conditions than we expected, Dorsey. That fan is helping, you know, being blown onto the rear tread of those Porsche tires. But right now, it's all about, can Robin Liddell hold on? I mean, these are significant players in the championship. Liddell would love to get that final spot on the podium, but Wolf Hensler will give it his all in the last 16 to 17 minutes of this race.
And if a yellow should come out, God forbid, it's going to be unbelievable.
Less than 17 minutes to run. Still plenty of racing to be done here at Watkins Glen International. 4 seconds, just a little over between Pruitt and Angelelli, and about 7 seconds back to Timo Bernard. There's going to have to be something dramatic happen for that to change. Next stop on the Grand Am schedule, Mid-Ohio, Lexington, Ohio, for one of the best road courses in the land. Looking forward to that one. It's always a challenging weekend, isn't it? It always puts the best to the test. No doubt about that. We'll see who comes out on top this year. It was a point of much relief for the 99 Gainsco team in 2008, wasn't it? And that's in 2 weeks' time. You can see it live here on Speed. How about this? Wolf Hensler has got by his former teammate. These two guys won this race just 3 years ago as teammates. Now they're fighting each other for the final step on the podium.
This is fantastic stuff, and Robin Nadal had been really quick through that inner loop, so I'm surprised that Wolf was able to take advantage there, Dorsey.
So I'm catching traffic, Calvin. I think maybe that could have done it. Robin might have been just held up just a skosh. Didn't take much. Wolf was on the attack, no question. But here's some more traffic you can play into things, too.
Let's show you the pass. Here we go.
Now, this was a great setup, Calvin. He had him set up coming up the straightaway. Drafts to the outside, uses that long way around. Makes it stick, though.
See the dive on the front end of that Pontiac as Robin hits the binders there, and then he's on the wrong line. Cannot carry the speed in. Wolf's on the right line, and sometimes when you defend like that, it's really going to hurt your entry speed.
Well, you know that Stevenson Motorsports in the Brian Mark financial car, they've done everything they can to try and get a podium. But today it looks like it is evaporating with just 13 minutes to go. Pruitt still leads Angelelli and Bernard top three. Negri, Valiente for Shank in the top five. Nothing has changed there. Dirk Werner, Paul Edwards are first and second in GT, then that scrap that we saw. And Nick Ham has worked his way up into the top five ahead of Spencer Pumpelly and last year's GT winner, Jeff Siegel. That's how things stand in the significant positions in both classes. But how about this for the Telmex, Chip Ganassi, Lexus Riley? 9 races without a victory. As Chris mentioned at the top of the show, that is the longest win-less streak for the Ganassi organization since entering the Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series in 2004.
Scott Pruitt has the bit between his teeth. He's going for the win. He just ran off the fastest lap of 41.70. Calvin, he knows what's behind him. And Max is coming hard.
He's coming hard, but Pruitt wants that victory. You can tell that steely glare he gives you these last few weekends in the paddock. He wants a win. He wants it bad. He can taste it. The crew realize they've had a fast car all year long. They just haven't executed like they have in the past. But they're there. They're going to be right there. They're going to be at the top of the championship table tonight, probably tied with these guys, the 10 boys. But this championship is on.
Tell you what, it makes it hard to catch a guy when he's running 41s up there like that.
Boy.
No matter what you are or how good you're doing. He opened it up to 6 seconds almost now.
When you're with a team like Ganassi and when you're America's most celebrated road racer like Scott Pruitt, you are used to winning. They came in 2004 in Daytona prototypes, turned the championship on its ear. Everyone said, oh my goodness, Ganassi is here. And they performed. In just their 4th race, they won. The following year, in just their 3rd race, they won. In 2006, just the 2nd race they won. They won in 07 at the Rolex 24 at Daytona. They did exactly the same last year. However, this year, they've gone 4 races without winning, and a cumulative of 9 races. That's Ken Brooks, one of the lead engineers. And I said, Ken, what's going to be the secret today? And he said, I don't know. Maybe we just deserve it.
Well, I hope he's holding his head because the sun is in his eyes. I hope he's not looking at it thinking, we don't have enough fuel in the car.
No, don't say it.
No, I think they're golden. I'm just teasing there. These boys really have a great car. They've run the perfect race. Both Memo and Scott have been flying all day long, and they deserve it.
And when this man decides to retire, if he ever does, in fact, his record will stand forever. I mean, this is the most winning sports car driver I've ever seen in my life.
There's a moment in his career, a dark spot in his career. He wanted a better shot at NASCAR Sprint Cup, but it doesn't matter. He'll have to live with that. He'll be remembered as the best on the road. Is one of the popular shows on the network here on Speed, and you can catch all new back-to-back episodes beginning at 10 Eastern right here on Speed. That's Wrecked. Life in the Crash Lane, Thursdays at 10 on Speed.
Still snowing.
Still snowing in Chicago. Yep. Lucky you moved.
Yeah.
Hey?
Just rains all the time in Atlanta.
Welcome back. We're in the closing stages. 7.5 minutes to run here in the Salem 6 hours of the Glen. What a day it's been, and what a remarkable performance it's been from Memo Rojas and this man here, Scott Pruitt. There's the margin between he and Max Angelelli. Angelelli is not giving up.
He isn't. On that last lap, he took 1.6 seconds out of the lead. It was 6.4, is now down to 4.8. I'm sure some of that was traffic, but Max ran a lap of 141.7. He is pushing hard. He is not giving up the chase, Dorsey.
He doesn't give up the chase, not this close to the finish, and he can smell that victory. Anything could happen to either one of these cars. You never count this thing out. I mean, they're driving at 10/10, these two guys right now, and the sun's not helping them a bit. It's in their eyes twice a lap.
What a dramatically different race for Scott Pruitt to 12 months ago. You mentioned at the top of the show, Dawes, it's never over until it's over. Pruitt and Rojas had to start from pit lane. He didn't take the lead until 45 minutes from the end, whereas today he has led the majority of this race.
Well, it's dominant. There's no question about that. If he can pull this off, I mean, I don't know how much they've held back or how much is in reserve on that car, but when he needs to, Scott Pruitt can just run away from this entire field. He's done it twice today, beginning and in this time.
Chris, are there smiling faces at the Telmex Ganassi pit area already?
Well, we talked to Chip Ganassi earlier in the race. He's already taken off at Texas, but Carlos Slim here. Carlos, you were here last year for the win. Looks like you might be here for the team's first win this year.
We're crossing our fingers, Chris, and the team has done a very strong job all the season. And I think everybody deserves this win. Scott and Memo has driven perfectly, and we are hoping that we can make it again here.
You've been behind Memo for a couple years now. How exciting is it for you to see him progress and really turn to the driver he is now?
Very much, especially after winning the championship last year, and all the confidence that he has got from all this time in the team, how he had integrated himself with the team, and how everybody's working together every time in a more consolidated way, I think is the results that we're seeing right here, hopefully. No?
Well, the team having a great job, and hopefully going to come away with this win for the first win of the year.
5.5 minutes, less than that to run. This is big. They're the most successful team as far as race wins in Grand Am Daytona prototype competition, but the drought has been a long one. They have 21 series victories, and their 22nd may be the most memorable and the sweetest. But Angelelli has brought it down to 3.6 seconds.
41.4 on that last lap. Just marginally outside the fastest lap of the race. A 41.42, Pruitt's fastest lap. Angelelli just ran a 41.44 with less than 5 minutes to go.
Max needs to get by these two cars in between him and Pruitt without being held up. You see them right now, and it's not going to be easy because they're side-by-side passing.
We talk about rivalry, but what's interesting between these two gentlemen, between Scott Pruitt and Max Angelelli, is enormous respect, and it's reciprocated from Pruitt to Angelelli and vice versa. I asked Pruitt once if he could have you pick who you'd like to drive with us in this series. He said Angelelli. And I asked Angelelli, what do you think about Scott Pruitt? And he said, he is the best. And my goal before I retire is to have more wins than this man. That's how much they admire each other's driving abilities.
It's a great rivalry, and both those guys cut through traffic there. I don't think either one of them was hurt significantly. Scott had a GT car there. Angelelli had to go through a couple of DPs. Be interesting at the end of this lap to see what that gap is. At the end of the last lap, it was 3.62 seconds between the leader and this man.
The big talking point about today, folks, for those of you just turning on late, is that the 99, the championship leading car, Gainsco duo of Gurney and Fogarty, are out of this race. They retired early. They've had a variety of problems today. They are no longer in the championship lead. And these two cars up front, first and second, if they stay as is in 3.5 minutes time, will be tied for the lead of the Daytona Prototype Championship. An extraordinary turnaround in the space of one race meeting.
Roughly 2 laps to go, I would say. It's going to be awfully hard for Max to catch up with Scott if Scott doesn't make a mistake or if some sort of traffic doesn't get in the way. I mean, there's just not that much time left here.
Well, it got blown out a little bit there. It's now up to 5 seconds plus. So Angelelli had a worse lap through the traffic than Scott Pruitt.
Oh, here's the trouble. This could bring out the caution, boys. The 57 stuck.
It could.
We only have a couple laps, though, left to go.
3 minutes to go. Is this going to be a late race caution? Is this going to bring Pruitt and Angelelli together?
Well, you hate to see at the end of 6 hard-fought hours to see it end under caution. Hopefully we can stay green. We'll have to look and see where the 57 car is in terms of is it in an impact zone. They'll make a close call on that. Hopefully we can keep running here and try and see if these DP leaders can chase each other down.
And what a tough way to end the day. They've fought so hard, the Stevenson gang, and to have it end in the gravel trap is not the way we wanted to see it for those boys.
Fighting hard there for third position in the GT, 3rd and 4th. Here comes Pruitt. They might just leave him there, Calvin.
Yeah, he looks smooth. I mean, the thing is, when you've got that 3-4 second gap, it's not desperate. You don't have to make that desperate lunge down the inside. You can time the traffic, look in your rear view mirrors. He doesn't see Angelelli close. He can be a bit more patient.
Yeah, it's impossible for Max to make up 4 seconds or 5 seconds in the 1 or 2 laps left. So with that being said, and there is no caution out, Scott will just...
It's gone caution now, Dorse. It's gone caution now.
Oh, my.
Late in the race, full course caution. We're up to number 7 or 8.
Well, it'll end under caution then, because look at the time allotted. They wouldn't be able to get that car out of the gravel trap in a minute and a half.
Chris?
Well, the 01 guy's happy about this caution because Tim Keen was very concerned. He heard from Grand Am that there was going to be another 3 laps, and he said, no, we're going to run out of time. There should only be 2 more laps. And the reason being, they weren't going to be able to make it if it was 3 more laps. As soon as that caution came out, these guys really let out a sigh of relief.
Wow, so they were tight on fuel, Chris. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying, Calvin. They were too tight on fuel. The Lexus guys were saying, hey, if we got to go 3 more laps, we're not going to make it all the way around.
Well, we laughed about the guy sort of like shading his eyes from the sun. Maybe he was scratching his head thinking, how do I pull this one off now?
What a stroke of luck that would be, huh?
Well, it's so tight. I mean, they just have to make that judgment call in terms of what lap times they're running as to when they wave that white flag. And that was within a few seconds of having 1 more lap to go instead of 2.
Tim Keen, Mike O'Gara, and Ken Brooks. That's the brain trust behind the Telmex Chip Ganassi team. And this late race caution has really swung in their favor. Here's the replay of what happened to Robin Liddell.
Looks like Calvin, he just came off that left-hander, turn 10, a little bit too hot. Couldn't get the car to stick on the racetrack, got in the grass, and no stopping her then.
Yeah, we see no other cars in that picture, so I'd have to suggest that Robin just got a little bit wide there. It's been a tough day for him, really, just hanging on to this race car that didn't want to behave. Mike Johnson and the crew just worked tirelessly to keep adjusting, and see if they can get that car to handle it. Looked good at stages, but in the late going, the Porsche certainly looked a little bit stronger.
Look at the career of this man here. 20 career Daytona Prototype victories, a 2-time champion, 2004, 2008. Won it in his very first season in Grand Am competition with Max Pappas, and then last year, of course, with young Mexican driver Memo Rojas. Well, when the caution came out, what were the feelings within Wayne Taylor's SunTrust camp? Angelelli was pleased to see that there was a caution come out. So what a way for the end of this 6 hour. Chris, you got something?
Yeah, Tim Keane just had a few more words with the Grand Am official down here saying this time by we're going to see the checker, right? And the official said, no, you're probably going to see the white flag. He said, I don't think we can make it one more time around. And he said, what does the official clock say? He says, our clock says we've run 6 hours. Time is out. We should see the checker. Guys, what are you thinking?
I'm seeing the white flags, what I'm thinking.
Wow. What we're saying is by the rule book, you have to see a white flag. And because this last lap was done under caution period, it's very slow.
And look at Scott. He's going to really try to conserve here.
Yeah, and you look at the clock. We're well over the 6 hour mark, so this is really dramatic here.
Now listen, I mean, he's got to climb that hill, Calvin. He's got to go up through turn 2, 3, and 4, and that's where the fuel's going to run. We'll see what happens. A little arguing going on here.
Chris is on the spot. What's happening, mate?
Well, Tim Keane up on the box here trying to figure out if his car is going to go all the way around. Time has expired, but the rule book says that the white has to be presented.
Okay. I thought it was a 6 hour race, and apparently it's going to be about a 6 hour and 5 minute race. It makes no sense. It doesn't matter if we see the white flag. I mean, the 6 hours have gone by. The race is over, right?
Can you make it?
Well, we'll find out. I mean, it's going to be, it's going to be close. We still need to pick up all the fuel. We just shouldn't be in this position. You understand? 6 minutes, 6 hours have gone by.
These guys hoping. They're hoping, but there's a guy behind him. We're going to see if we can catch up with Max Angelelli. Max Angelelli, this is Calvin Fish in the speed booth. Do you have a copy?
Yes, I copy you.
Max, tremendous drive out there today. Currently you're running second, Max, but I don't know if you're aware of it. The man in front of you is running out of fuel. We just spoke to his crew. Now, if he runs out, you're going to push him over the line, or you're going to pass him?
I'm going to pass him.
I love it, mate. What a great drive. Fast laps, you and Pruitt duking it out. It's fun to watch.
Thank you very much. He's a really good driver, Scott. It's always a pleasure to fight with him.
All right, Max, whatever the outcome, great run today.
Thank you.
Well, dramatic scenes here. Will it be the drought-breaking win for Ganassi, or will it be the very first 6 hour win here at the Glen for Wayne Taylor Racing?
Well, they just came out of the place where he'd be in the worst trouble. Coming out of the tow boot, climbing that hill, Calvin, he made it to there. There's only this little bit of a hill left, and he'll be on the flat.
Turn 10 and 11 to go as they climb the hill.
I think he's okay.
Yeah, I think he will be too. I mean, if he made it up that hill, he should have enough to
As long as
wiggle
that
it.
pace car doesn't brake check him, does he?
That would be rude.
So they crawl to the end. We never like to see the race finish under yellow, but it is what it is. And an unexpected late race caution due to a GT car, the Stevenson Pontiac, going off. And there's just one more turn and a portion of the straight here at the Glen to go before the drought is broken for Telmex Chip Ganassi Racing. As they come to the line, the 2009 Salem 6 hours at the Glen is the moment that Ganassi finally win again. The first win for 2009 for Scott Pruitt and Memo Rojas. Finally, they have won.
Now we'll see if Scott pulls in around the end of the guardrail down there, or is he going to run out of gas on the cool-down lap and miss his victory lane celebration.
Wow, that was going to be tight.
I think he did. I don't know. We'll find out.
And congratulations to Farnbacher Lowles as well. They're victorious for the second time this year. And both Daytona Prototype and GT Championships look very, very different as far as the points are concerned. And we're going to tell you about that when we come back. What a day to remember here in Watkins Glen, weather-wise and race-wise. Wasn't the dramatic racing finish that we had hoped for, but still plenty to talk about. And we said that the whole structure of both championships looked dramatically different. How about this? Angelelli, Frizzell, Pruitt and Rojas tied for the lead of this championship. And the guys with 2 wins and were leading coming into this race fall 6 points behind those 2 pairings. And Darren Law, David Donahue also slip a little bit further, but a good day for the 59 guys. They're